Hello, friends. Andy C. Luter here, and I want to welcome you to Late Night Church Talk TV. I come to you every Wednesday night at around the 10 o'clock hour, and I actually wear several different hats on the internet. I am a teacher of Christian educational material. I'm also a local pastor. I am a prince in the Lord's church and hold the rank of bishop in the Full Gospel Baptist Church Fellowship. But one of my great loves and passions has to do with gospel music. And so I kind of switch hats and switch roles after hours on Wednesday evening. So if you're watching me live, share this link with somebody. Let them know that Andy Luter with Late Night Church Talk TV is on the air. I'll be spending approximately the next half hour with you. I do believe that we have put together a rather exciting program for this particular time and season that we're standing in. I certainly acknowledge that this pandemic has dislocated so many of us, and we're not doing what we are accustomed to doing. Normally, I would not be on a Wednesday evening doing this, but the stay-at-home ban and COVID-19 has redefined the roles of all of us. And so many of the things that we thought we would not be doing, we actually find ourselves doing. And so for my late night viewers, those who hang out on Facebook after 9 o'clock in the evening, this is my effort to meet you where you are, and hopefully something said and or done over the course of these next several minutes will prove to be of value to you. Now listen, there were two local artists that I closed my program with on last week. That was S.W. Washington along with Antoine Hilton, two fabulously gifted, anointed individuals. They have pooled their talent together to give us something serious to think about. And they have released a video entitled Favor. And I closed with this last week, but I want to open with this week. So if you sit back, fasten your seatbelt for this next 25 minutes as we go on an excursion of gospel music, primarily locally, but we're going to hit some topics and subjects that I know will resonate with you. This is Favor featuring S.W. Washington along with Antoine Hilton.
S.W. Washington, Favor, and your boy, Antoine Hilton. I got favor, I got favor, I got favor, so glad I got favor with the Lord. I got favor, anybody got favor, favor with the Lord. You can laugh at me and call me names, but I got one thing I know for sure. No weapon that is formed against me, it won't prosper. 'Cause I got favor
I've got favor with the Lord. Listen, that was S.W. Washington along with Antoine Hilton. Now, the second young man who was featured in that song, Antoine Hilton, I've come to know over the course of these last few days, and we discovered that we were nearly related. In 1898, my mother's father, my maternal grandfather, Bishop William Edward Fuller Sr., actually organized and started and launched the Fire Baptized Holiness Church of God of the Americas. It was a national movement up through the turn of the century, the 1930s, 40s. My grandfather died in 1959, and at the time of his death, there were over 850 local Fire Baptized Holiness churches that were spread out literally all across the country. Here in New York, more specifically in the Hempstead area, there was a singular family that was kind of the flagship church and the flagship family for the Fire Baptized Holiness movement, and it was the Hilton family. I had an opportunity to have a conversation with Brother Antoine Hilton earlier this week, and I was talking about my grandfather and the Hilton family in Hempstead that carried the banner for the Fire Baptized Holiness Church of God of the Americas for so many years. And I asked him if it was possible that he was related to that family. And he actually is. And so we kind of feel like we're cousins because we grew up under the canopy of the Fire Baptized Holiness Church of God of the Americas. He's out in Suffolk County now, but his roots are out of Hempstead, New York. He's going to be doing some work with us. As a matter of fact, some of the music that our local ministry, the Hollywood Full Gospel Baptist Cathedral, that we will be doing in future days and in future weeks, he's going to be involved in. And I'm so very, very excited about his involvement and the inclusion of him in what I'm doing. I am sure that his grandfather, or great-grandfather probably, and my grandfather would be shouting in heaven to see their descendants working so closely together, just as his probably great-grandfather and my grandfather worked together at the close of the 19th century and in the early part of the 20th century. Well, friends, 2 weeks ago, you would not have been able to convince me that there was any news item that would have moved the coronavirus off the front page and it being the centerpiece of the news and journalistic attention, not only here in this country, but around the world. We have gone behind masks and gloves. Many have died, and this pandemic has been the worst outbreak of an illness or a sickness since the 1919 Spanish flu that took place in this country almost 100 years ago. And certainly with over 100,000 people having died right here in these United States, we haven't seen anything of this proportion since the bubonic plague back in the 13 and 1400s that took 1/3 of the population of Europe, resulted in death because of the Black Plague or the bubonic plague. This pandemic is approaching those kind of record numbers, and it has us rocking and reeling, redefining ourselves and scrambling to figure out what our new normal is. So 2 weeks ago, you could not have convinced me or anybody else that there would have been anything that would have clamored for more attention than the pandemic, the coronavirus, COVID-19. But these last several days, ever since George Floyd was murdered, and yes, I am saying murdered because the autopsy report, the autopsy report coming out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, that was done by the family shows that he died of asphyxiation, which is strangling. The pressure put on his neck and his back literally squeezed the life out of him. And the country has responded in a variety of ways. There have been peaceful marches and protests all across the country, and in Europe, Africa, the Middle East, the Far East. And yes, there have been violent responses as well. There have been several nights of violence and riots in New York, in Chicago, in various parts of the country. And I am convinced that this is the result of a cumulative aggravation and annoyance and frustration over people of color in particular having suffered at the hands of authority figures in recent years. It's not just about George Floyd, but it's about the many names, the many individuals, going all the way back to Trayvon Martin, going all the way back to Emmett Till. And there is a collective consciousness that's going on in this country that's not centered just in African American communities. Any of you who have watched television here of late, you know that protests are being participated in by all segments and aspects of our society and culture. And when you see large numbers of whites gathered on corners saying Black Lives Matter, you know this has gone beyond urban central. It has gone beyond the ghetto. It's gone beyond black communities. And it is now a national pandemic. I am saying and suggesting that we are juggling two pandemics at the same time. We are juggling a medical pandemic along with a societal pandemic. But what I found so very, very interesting, and George Floyd died literally in the streets. And not too terribly long ago, and certainly at the time of this recording, he could not have known what his own fate and his own destiny would have been. But he was talking to young people, and he's captured on film, talking to young people, encouraging them to be positive, encouraging them to be positive members of society. And tonight, I want to dedicate the remainder of my program to the memory of George Floyd. We don't want his face to go away. We don't want the act that took his life to go away. We want to center attention on this, bring as much attention to this as possible, because this seems to be repeating behavior in our country. And so I want to begin my tribute to him this evening by showing you his own words. This certainly does not appear to be a criminal or a negative individual, and certainly if even the stories are true about him being in possession of a $20 bill that perhaps was not legal tender, it certainly did not deserve to cost him his life. So let's go here and take a listen to George Floyd in his own words.
Saw my homegirl Nikki from South Lawn lost her son, man. Our young generation is clearly lost, man. Clearly lost, man. Like, I don't even know what to say no more, man. Like, you youngsters just going around, just busting guns in crowds, kids getting killed, you know, and it's clearly the generation after us, man, that's so lost, man. You know, man, I came at the Houston, told me, yeah, Floyd, that young truth, man, right there, because he could bust a gun. Man, I knew it was crazy then. My age saying this here, man. You know what I'm saying? And condoning this, bro. You know what I'm saying? And like half them young shooting them guns go home and they knees shaking at night. But they don't show it to nobody because, you know, they ain't tough then. Hey, man, come on home, man. One day it's going to be you and God. You going up or you going down. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, thank you so much. And I appreciate those words, the insight, the illumination that he provides in terms of what's going on here and now, what's going on in the streets. And as I said, he could not have known what his own fate was going to be when he recorded that message. But certainly that gives you some insight. It gives you a glimpse of the man and the tremendous loss that society has suffered because he is no longer with us. A little earlier in this program, I talked extensively about Antoine Hilton and some of the things that I anticipated him doing with our ministry. I also talked about a personal relationship with him as it relates to our families coming out of the same religious genre and being a part of the same Christian denomination at the turn of the century. In response to the murder of George Floyd, Antoine Hilton put together this powerful piece and musical message that really, really signifies the heightened frustration that all of us feel as we watch time and time again the knee of this man on the neck of George Floyd until there was no longer any life within him. So I want to go back to Antwan Hilton, and I want to share with you this powerful message that he does that relives the situation and the circumstance of George Floyd's murder. Let's go to Antwan Hilton.
I feel like a motherless child.
It doesn't matter what I did. You don't have the right to say if I die or live. Hey, officer, I can't breathe. Who's gonna raise my kids if I leave? Oh, America, don't you think it's about time for you to give real time? So maybe next time we won't repeat this time, so that I can breathe and my brothers can breathe, my family can breathe.
That's Antwan Hilton, and this coming Saturday, that particular song is part of an album that he will be releasing called Eclectic. And this coming Saturday, which will be the 6th of June at 6 p.m., he is doing a live stream that will be available on the internet, probably on Facebook. A number of different songs like Love Letter, No More Lonely Days, and I Can't Breathe. This excerpt that you just saw a few moments ago will be released by Antwan Hill, and I just want to give a shout out to him and encourage his heart and encourage what he is doing, and invite those of you who are available 6 p.m. this coming Saturday. That's the 6th of June. I don't have the actual URL. I may have that before the end of the program, but I encourage you to support him and to watch him live on Saturday evening, again at 6 p.m., as he releases his eclectic album that will feature a number of different songs, but will also address the topic and the subject of police brutality in recent weeks and in recent months. Now, some of you over the last 24 to 48 hours very well may have seen this powerful rendition of an original composition that this young man sings with power, fervor, passion, and enthusiasm. And I wanted to share it with you as a part of my tribute to George Floyd tonight as we remember him and remember the brutality, the brutal circumstances under which he was murdered. I want to take you to this young man. It is a moving piece, and I'm anxious to share it with you at this time.
I'm a young black man doing all that I can to stand. Oh, but when I look around and I see what's being done to my kind every day, I'm being hunted as prey. My people don't want no trouble. We've had enough struggle. I just wanna live. God protect me. I just wanna live. I just wanna live.
was just a black boy brought up in the white world. I just wanna ask God if I'm in the right world. Is my life a test or is my life a curse? They put us in an ambulance, got us in a hearse, cause another brother deceased, but it doesn't matter. Killed by the police while we in the handcuffs. I don't wanna take a knee, I just wanna stand up. Where's the new Huey P? Call it Black Panthers. Just do the math, they subtract us like minus. Fuck COVID, KKK is the virus. We are not afraid, we will not stay quiet. They will always label a rebellion or riot. Kill a black man seems to be their assignment. White supremacists terrorize the environment. Guns and the canine, tasers and sirens. I just wanna live, I don't wanna live violent. We don't want violence.
My people don't want no trouble. We've had enough, show go. I just wanna live. God protect me. I just wanna live. I just wanna live. I just wanna live. God protect me. I just wanna live. I just wanna live.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Listen, I am hurriedly moving now, and I've got a psalmist, a singer by the name of Brian T., who is suggesting that Jesus is the answer. Now, this is, again, tied to the George Floyd situation that we're living through in real time. But here is Brian T. with his rendition of Jesus is the answer.
And as we have seen across the country, the death of George Floyd is a symptom of a larger cold. His death has struck a nerve and sparked anger not only in Minneapolis but across the country. In New York, a city still on lockdown, many are making their voices heard despite the risks of the pandemic. The street in San Jose, California, filled with protesters. And take a look at this scene in Atlanta. The anger goes from coast to coast.
Jesus, we need your help. This hatred, these killings, destroying ourselves for nothing. Mama's crying every night, father's scared for their lives. Jesus, please be the answer today. We're crying out cause we need you. Yeah, 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 yeah. Jesus, please be the answer today. I know you angry, I get it. What you gonna say to this? Like, someone gotta pay for this. They just can't get away with this look. I can't be silent about my tongue, go be quiet though. How you gon' win when you fighting fire with fire though? You feed your people this poison, promoting murder, bruh. You know this evil destroys them. I know you hurting, bruh. George Floyd matter, yo. All souls matter, yo. Christ is the answer. I pray that God keep his hand on us. We need healing in this land. All this killing in this land. We need forgiveness in this land. Lord, I put this in your hands. Say, Jesus, we need your help. This hatred, these killings, destroying ourselves for nothing. Mama's crying every night, father's scared for their lives. Jesus, please be the answer today. We're crying out cause we need you. Yeah, 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 yeah. Jesus, please be the answer today. Hey, some been looking for a reason to murder and hate. Hey, some been looking for a reason to drift from the say. I know what injustice is. I know what real suffering is. Say, I know what corruption is. I know what destruction is. How I lost my brother to the hatred and the ignorance. God defend the innocent. Save us from all this wickedness. You overcome evil with good. Teach all my people you good. We preaching peace in the street. Touch every city and hood. Looting and shooting. I'm like, homeboy, what you doing? Hey, you can't see that we lose it when we pollute other humans. I said, it breaks my heart to see you cry. The hand of God gon' wipe your eye. The dead in Christ will one day rise. And on that day, can no one hide. It's hard to understand your plan, but still I trust you. Hey, even with this evil around me, Jesus, I love you. Yo. Jesus, we need your help. This hatred, these killings, destroying ourselves for nothing. Mama's crying every night, father's scared for their
thank you for yours. In this last minute that I have, I want to take you to Brian Owens and his father. This really kind of appeals to me because of the close relationship that I had with my father. He and his father combined their voices to do this powerful duet. It's a cover of Sam Cooke's 1963 song that became a national anthem to the modern civil rights movement, A Change is Going to Come. Here's Brian Owens along with his father as we close out with this week of Late Night Church Talk TV with Andy Luter.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. 'Cause I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh yes it is. Then I go to my brother. And I say, brother, help me please. But he wind up knocking me back down on the knee. There've been times that I thought I couldn't last for long, but now I think I'm able, Father, to carry on. And it's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes it is, yes it is.